My name is Mike Stahl. I'm a field rep in the southeast part of the state. It started back when I was teaching in Colorado. I joined the union, became active in my local union, was elected president. Then after I was in leadership for a while, I applied for the staff position in Colorado Springs, and was hired there and started working shortly thereafter. Good question. We get it a lot that people are wondering, well, without collective bargaining, what good is a union anymore? What can the union do for me anymore? And it's a fair question. I can tell you from experience, both here since Act 10 and previously in the state of Colorado, in representing people without a collective bargaining agreement underneath them, that we still do the basic stuff which people need that they don't see every day. Speaking with legislators, the lobbying effort, all of that is real important. That happens every session, all the time, advocating for good bills, trying to kill the bad ones. All of that stuff happens. But more importantly, the bread and butter is dealing with employee rights, dealing with your working conditions, day-to-day situations where maybe you're not getting treated fairly, you're getting harassed, you get a discipline of some kind. Those kinds of things are the bread and butter of what we're still working on, still able to represent people, and we're doing it effectively. We're winning grievances, we're getting rights back for people, we're getting disciplines reduced or eliminated, and that's happening every week. People don't hear about it all the time, but it's happening. The employees that stood up together at Kettle Moraine Correctional, the teachers there were being continually harassed by the education director, and the teachers, who are a new unit to AFSCME Council 24 as of last year, they were getting some support on grievances and some advice on how to deal with the education director. So the teachers, decided that it was important for them to work together. So we met several times to strategize, to talk about, we need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, based on your situation, and your situation. And what happened was everything sort of came to a breaking point, and we won the grievances, the harassment stopped, and the education director was walked out of the institution. She's no longer there. So that was a win and that was correctional officers and teachers all working together, because they were all in on it in some way, shape, or form. So it took everybody sort of working together to make that happen. So that's just people working together, using the resources of the council to try and help them along, give them direction, give them support, but they're on the ground, they were the ones who got it done. Well, I think a couple of things go through my mind. The timing couldn't be worse. At a time where unions are under attack from so many outside sources, we now have a cancer on the inside, trying to divide the union. I would say do the math. That means we're stronger together than we are in our own little silos, whether it's just correctional officers over here and administrative support over here, or whatever it is, or this union over here and this union over here. We're stronger together. numbers matter. This is the worst possible thing that could be happening as far as worker rights. They're not going to improve, they're not going to get stronger by having smaller groups trying to represent people. It's just not going to happen. Do the math, bad timing, and I have to say, everything that I've been hearing about this WACL organization, it appears to be a company union. They seem to have no end of praise for the director of the agency, for director of corrections. They don't want to say anything bad about them. And I understand wanting to work with people, but if I were a state employee, I would much rather stand with an organization like AFSCME, who's stood by and fought for workers, rather than an organization that chooses maybe to stand by and work for management. I think it's a product of some fragile egos of people who were trying to run for office in the council, didn't get their way, and this is what they've decided to do, is to break away. And it's it's that selfishness that's going to be it's unfortunate. Well, it's divide and conquer. I think those words came directly from Scott Walker's lips. Everyone's seen the notorious video of him saying, well, first you got to divide and conquer. Well, that's exactly what's happening. So it is a divide and conquer. It's not necessarily his hand making it happen, but I'm sure he blesses it with all his thought and power. As a local leader, you know what's going on in your local. You know what's happening there. You know some of the players and all that kind of thing. But if I were to try and help somebody outside of my local, I would be a fish out of water. There's a whole different set of rules and different players, and you really don't have an idea of the context, whether it be there or the overall context. As a field rep, I think it's a lot easier for me to see from facility to facility, from agency to agency, what are the general patterns that are happening here? What are some things that management might be working on that we need to be attacking, trying to stop? I hear the voices from all across the agencies. I hear the voices from all across the facilities. And when they're striking on a similar note, I know something's up. But if I'm just in this, one site, in one local, or in one agency, my vision is greatly diminished. I can't see the big picture, right? And I get that not only in the work that I do every day and talking to all the members, but I get it from being at the council, talking with the other reps who are also all across the state. I get it from, talking to Jana and Marty, and about, getting all the updates from the lobbyists, and all of that. All those resources are really important to having the full picture. So when I go to represent somebody, I come fully prepared. I can give you a perfect example. When I worked in Colorado, I was representing public school employees. We had a union busting superintendent come in to one of the local school districts. Actually, two of our locals were there. And one of the first things that he wanted to do, because he understood the power of having an outside representative come in, the first thing he did, because they didn't have a contract in place, was he eliminated the ability for anyone who was not an employee to come in and represent any employee in the district in a matter of grievances. So what happened as a result was, when the union busting was going on, right, and they were targeting people, which is not uncommon necessarily, people did not want to represent another employee when they're an employee. They go and sit in that meeting, and they're dealing with management. They know that they're likely to be the next target. So no one could find reps or effective reps to assist in grievance matters. Everyone was scared to do so, and I didn't necessarily blame them, but I couldn't help them other than over the phone. I couldn't be in meetings with them. I could help them over the phone, so we tried to develop some strategies around that, but that union is pretty much defunct now. I don't know what, and I don't think anyone really knows what you're going to get with WACL. What kind of representation, what kind of quality is going to be provided. It's, you're rolling the dice. And I think when it comes to your career and your livelihood, you shouldn't have to roll the dice. Stay with AFSCME, stay with the organization that has stood by you and fought for you for decades. You know the product that you're going to get with AFSCME. Not every organization is perfect. No organization is perfect. There's always going to be flaws, whether it's personalities that you don't like, whether it's policies that you don't like, there are always going to be flaws. But AFSCME is always going to stand with and fight for workers.